Protests against a controversial documentary shut down parts of King Street today. Russians at War was supposed to show on screens during TIFF last week, but that was put on pause due to security reasons. Protesters say the movie is a piece of pro-Russian propaganda. Now, supporters of the film staunchly disagree. Britnei Bilhete is outside the TIFF Lightbox ahead of today's second screening. And Britnei, what are people hoping to watch the film telling you?
Earlier today, they told me that they believe this is an anti-war movie, but they'd like to see it for themselves so that they can make up their minds. Of course, the people behind me, the protesters, they're outraged. They say this movie is harmful and hurtful, and they want TIFF to halt all future screenings.
Россия и Украина, все это было неразделимо. По братскому союзу я скучаю.
Russians at War is a first-person documentary by Russian-Canadian filmmaker Anastasia Trofimova. The film follows soldiers and medics on the front lines of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The doc was supposed to show during the Toronto International Film Festival, but organizers canceled the screening over, quote, significant threats to festival operations and public safety. Organizers called their decision unprecedented. Ukrainian community groups protesting against the film called on TIFF to cancel all screenings.
We had been, victims of that propaganda for years, and we do understand how to read those messages.
Screening propaganda at a time when a country in Europe is trying to wipe out another country, literally genocide, erase all evidence of this country. Having a film like this which tries to normalize the aggressors, normalize the invaders who are facing indictment for war crimes, it's unacceptable.
The United Nations estimates that Russia's invasion has killed over 11,000 civilians and injured another 24,000 since it began in February 2022.
I think films like this are important, and I think that they're difficult, and I think it's important to acknowledge that they're difficult.
This film critic who watched the doc says it isn't the movie some people think it is.
It's not the kind of documentary that I would expect, let's say, Putin to be very happy about. It presents a situation for Russian soldiers where they've been treated essentially by their own state as little more than cannon fodder for a war that they don't understand why they're even fighting anymore.
People on their way to see the movie Tuesday say they'd like to make up their minds by themselves.
I've heard of this film as being very much anti-war, not pro-Russia, not pro-Ukraine, anti-war. And I think it's independent artists' right to produce art and true journalistic integrity. Journalists are under fire all over the world.
The idea behind propaganda is highly subjective. It depends. Everyone has different viewpoints. The truth and facts and all that it's all twisted, and depending on what you believe and your own personal values and things like that.
Meanwhile, some critics are questioning why and how the movie received public money from the Canada Media Fund in association with TVO. What also seems to be unclear still is what kind of threat dissuaded TIFF from screening the documentary during the film festival. Toronto police say the decision to cancel events was made independently by organizers and was not based on any recommendation. Some industry insiders are calling the overall situation unfortunate.
I believe that documentary films are there to invite debate and discussion. They're really essential tools to this democratic process of, freedom of the press and freedom of speech, these charter-protected rights.
Protesters say they're going to keep the pressure on TIFF, and it's also important to note that high-profile figures have also weighed in on this conversation, including Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland, who says she has grave concerns about the movie. Kelda?
Thanks so much, Britnei. Britnei Bilhete reporting from the TIFF Lightbox tonight.